There is a reason fortunes rise around certain men as if guided by an unseen hand, while others labor for decades and touch nothing but exhaustion. It is not intelligence. It is not luck. It is not even effort. It is a law, older than money, quieter than words, and hidden in plain sight. Most men chase wealth as if it were something outside themselves. They hunt opportunities, pursue markets, follow trends, and imitate success, never realizing they are violating the very principle that decides who receives and who is denied. Let me ask you something you may never have considered. Why did one ancient king become a symbol of inexhaustible riches without chasing gold, while entire nations around him starved for power? Why did wealth move toward him instead of him running after it? The answer is not mystical, it is exact. And once seen, it cannot be unseen. You have been taught to seek rewards before you secure authority, to desire results before you establish order, to demand outcomes while your inner world remains divided, doubtful, and undisciplined. This inversion quietly repels fortune no matter how hard you work. There is a hidden hierarchy that governs all riches. Violate it, and effort becomes punishment. Obey it, and results appear faster than reason can explain. Most men never discover this hierarchy because it does not flatter impatience. Consider this: why does money trust some men with abundance and others only with wages? Why does responsibility seem to grow heavier for one man while another is crushed by even small success? Wealth is not cruel, it is precise. This law was never written for the masses. It cannot be shouted in the marketplace because it demands mastery before reward. It tests a man silently over years through decisions no one applauds and disciplines no one sees. You may believe you are ready for fortune, but ask yourself, have you ordered your thoughts, your desires, your habits, and your decisions as one who is already entrusted with power? Or are you still negotiating with yourself daily? The secret is this: riches follow alignment, not ambition. They move toward men whose inner government is settled, whose judgment is calm, whose purpose is unified. Disorder attracts struggle. Order attracts increase. Kingdoms fall and fortunes evaporate when this law is ignored. Modest men rise into influence when it is obeyed. History is crowded with proof, yet almost no one studies the cause, only the outcome. In this speech, I will not hand you a slogan. I will not promise instant gold. I will reveal the inner arrangement that must exist before wealth can safely arrive, and why those who skip this step are destroyed by the very success they crave. Listen closely. What you are about to hear is not about money first. It is about mastery. And once mastery is established, fortune follows as naturally as shadow follows form. There is a reason this law remained hidden. Not because it is complex, but because it demands something rare. By the end of this message, you will know whether you are prepared to obey it or whether you will continue chasing what only comes to those who rule themselves first. Before any man commands fortune, he must first command himself. This is the beginning of all mastery and the reason so few achieve it. The majority of men cry for riches while their inner kingdom lies in disarray. Their thoughts contradict their words. Their desires battle their discipline. They demand increase while their minds remain in disorder. Wealth does not answer confusion. It answers law. There exists a divine sequence that no effort can escape. First comes inner government, then comes outer growth. All lasting power begins with alignment, an ordered mind, a disciplined spirit, and a definite aim. Without these, no amount of labor or intelligence will attract fortune for long. Money, opportunity, and influence are not rewards. They are responsibilities, and responsibility always seeks the prepared. The ancient King Solomon understood this principle before he ever ruled. When offered anything he desired, he did not ask for wealth or victory. He asked for understanding, wisdom to govern himself and his people with justice. That single choice revealed his alignment, and wealth followed as consequence, not as pursuit. He did not chase fortune. Fortune recognized its master and came to him. Most men reverse this order. They demand reward before readiness, harvest before planting. They wish to be rich while their habits betray poverty. They speak of prosperity while their thoughts dwell on scarcity. They seek to own much but cannot manage little. The law does not permit this inversion. It withholds abundance until order proves capacity. To govern self is the greatest test of all. You cannot lead men, build empires, or command wealth until your emotions obey your reason. The undisciplined mind is like a city without walls. Any doubt, fear, or distraction may enter and rule it. The disciplined mind, once established, becomes a fortress. Inside that fortress, thought becomes command, and command becomes law to the outer world. Infinite intelligence never entrusts riches to those who are slaves of impulse. It observes the way a man keeps his word, the way he rises from failure, the way he spends idle hours. It measures steadiness before it grants power. What men call delay is often the law's silent observation, watching to see if discipline equals desire. The hidden law of fortune is precision. Every coin, every opportunity, every increase is drawn to structure, not emotion. Disorder repels prosperity as surely as decay repels life. You cannot keep wealth while living in contradiction. The man who demands increase must first become increase in his habits, in his thoughts, and in his conduct. There are two kinds of ambition: impatient ambition and ordered ambition. The impatient man desires recognition before he deserves it. He rushes from one plan to another, declaring readiness while still divided in purpose. The ordered man labors quietly, establishing foundation before expansion. He does not ask, "When will it come?" He asks, "Am I fit to receive it?" That single question saves him 10 years of wasted motion. I have watched men of equal intellect begin together, one governed by discipline, the other by desire. The disciplined man rises slowly but steadily. The other rises fast, burns bright, and collapses. The difference was not luck, it was law. The hidden law of fortune tests stability before scale. The world rewards those who can hold what they receive. Edison embodied this principle. He lived not in chaos, but in deliberate order. Each experiment was recorded, reviewed, refined. Failure did not disturb him because his mind obeyed reason, not emotion. His laboratory was not merely physical, it was mental. He governed every idea as a king governs his court. Through that inner rule, invention became inevitable. Carnegie, too, built his empire upon structure. Long before steel filled his mills, he built systems in his habits. He scheduled thought as carefully as others scheduled meetings. He understood that riches were attracted by organization, not chance. When men asked his secret, he said simply, "I plan my work, and I work my plan." Few realized this was more than advice. It was obedience to the hidden law. A man's daily routine is the measure of his readiness for fortune. Do his actions obey purpose, or do they serve impulse? Does he govern his time as treasure, or does he scatter it carelessly? Infinite intelligence observes these small proofs. It rewards the one whose hours reflect definiteness, for definiteness is the outer expression of inner order. The greatest misconception of wealth is that it comes to those who want it most. Desire alone has no authority without discipline. Fire uncontrolled destroys. Fire governed builds engines. The same law applies to ambition. A burning desire without structure consumes its owner. A desire bound by law becomes power. Ask yourself, is my mind a kingdom or a battlefield? Are my thoughts loyal to one definite purpose, or do they serve many masters? Until your inner parliament unites under one ruling vision, you will remain divided, and division invites poverty. Wealth is never the child of confusion. It is the offspring of harmony. Men often pray for opportunities while ignoring the disorder that repels them. They say, "If only I had capital," while wasting minutes as if they were worthless. They dream of leadership while evading responsibility in small matters. They imagine wealth as deliverance from discipline when it is, in truth, the ultimate test of it. When the inner world is organized, the outer world must comply. This is law. The mind that is ordered becomes a magnet. It does not need to chase, it attracts. People, ideas, and resources align naturally with the one whose purpose is unwavering. His calm becomes his signal. Others trust his steadiness and offer their cooperation freely. To those who have not built order within, such men seem lucky. But luck is only the appearance of law in motion. The fortune that others call mysterious is simply the visible result of invisible harmony. King Solomon's riches did not arrive by miracle. They flowed through order. He built systems of trade, justice, and counsel that reflected his inner alignment. His wealth was a mirror of his wisdom. He sought first understanding, and understanding drew riches in its wake. The modern world calls it management, but the ancients called it mastery. Repeat this affirmation daily. I am the ruler of my thoughts, the governor of my habits, the keeper of my time. Wealth follows my order as shadow follows form. Say it with conviction until your mind obeys. Discipline begins with command, and command begins with faith in one's authority. Many waste decades believing they must first earn money to become organized. The truth is the reverse. Become organized, and money will find you. Wealth distrusts chaos. It hides from the unprepared as surely as opportunity hides from the indecisive. The moment your life becomes a model of order, fortune recognizes its reflection and draws near. A man may work tirelessly for 20 years and remain poor because his energy is scattered. Another may work with precision for 5 and amass wealth because his force is concentrated. The difference is not quantity of effort, but quality of order. One burns his fuel through friction, the other channels it through focus. Even faith itself requires order to function. The man who prays for prosperity while thinking doubt and speaking fear contradicts himself. Faith divided is powerless. True belief demands consistency across thought, word, and action. When all three align, heaven and earth respond as one. Consider the farmer. He does not pray for harvest before plowing the soil. He does not scatter seed randomly. He measures, plans, and obeys the laws of season. His faith is expressed in preparation, not impatience. Because he trusts order, he never doubts increase. So it is with riches. The one who builds systems, habits, and clarity trusts the law of cause and effect. He knows reward is automatic when obedience is complete. The impatient man, seeing his progress slow, uproots his seed daily to check for growth and wonders why nothing blooms. Every day is an examination before the hidden law. When you rise, do you govern the morning, or does the morning govern you? When you face challenge, do you hold steady, or do you collapse into emotion? The one who remains constant under trial proves himself ready for command. The one who falters must repeat his lessons until steadiness becomes nature. Discipline saves years. A single hour of structured thought yields more than a week of scattered motion. To sit quietly and think accurately about one definite aim is to summon invisible assistance from infinite intelligence itself. The undisciplined thinker prays for miracles. The ordered mind creates them through law. Let me tell you a truth that will save you 30 years of wandering. Riches come not to the man who seeks gold, but to the man who establishes order equal to gold's responsibility. The fortune you desire already exists in potential form, waiting for the mind steady enough to manage it. Therefore, stop asking when wealth will come. Ask instead, have I built the inner structure that can hold it? Life cannot trust abundance to the man who collapses under inconvenience. The small disciplines you neglect today are the exact weights that would crush you tomorrow. When order becomes your nature, wealth arrives without struggle. It senses readiness as surely as water seeks the level ground. You will no longer chase it, beg for it, or dream of it. It will come quietly, obediently, as servant to its rightful master. This is the first revelation of the hidden law, the law of inner government. Before you seek fortune, establish rule within. Before you desire increase, build order. When the self is unified, every external good must follow. This is no superstition. It is the oldest equation of success, the secret understood by kings and forgotten by laborers. Write this truth upon your heart. Order precedes increase. Discipline precedes dominion. I am the ruler of the invisible, therefore the visible obeys me. When you live by this law, time shortens its lessons. Confusion disappears. What others accomplish in decades, you will achieve in years, for every effort will flow in one direction. That is how you save 10, 20, or even 30 years of trial. You cease fighting against law and begin cooperating with it. And when cooperation with law becomes your daily rhythm, fortune no longer hides. It rushes to serve its rightful authority, you. No man may escape this truth. Fortune serves unity. It does not flow to divided minds nor to inconsistent hearts. The hidden law decrees that all increase moves through channels of harmony, thought, word, and action moving in agreement. When these three are aligned, invisible forces conspire to open doors that once seemed sealed. When they are divided, even small success slips through the cracks of contradiction. Alignment is the cornerstone of Solomon's wisdom. He did not think one way, speak another, and act in a third. His counsel, speech, and deed were united under one guiding principle, understanding before possession. His unity made him magnetic to prosperity. While others sought wealth through cunning, he gained it through coherence. Fortune recognizes and trusts the man who agrees with himself. Most men never experience power because they are at war within. They speak of abundance while thinking fear, or they act with ambition while confessing doubt. This division of energy creates exhaustion. They work hard, yet their results betray them. The mind commands one thing, the tongue declares another, and the hands perform a third. The law of increase rejects such confusion. To align thought, word, and action is to form a straight line between purpose and result. No detours, no hesitation, no denial. The line must be clear, for the universe travels only along direct routes. The man who aligns his inner world creates a highway for destiny. The one who contradicts himself builds barriers invisible to others, but deadly to progress. The undisciplined thinker says, "I hope," and life mirrors that uncertainty. The definite man says, "I will," and the law responds in kind. Infinite intelligence takes him at his word. This is no metaphor, it is law. The subconscious accepts command as fact. Each statement made with belief plants a seed. Each doubt expressed uproots one. Alignment means planting and protecting simultaneously. When thought and speech are united, action becomes unstoppable. Words are vibrations. Thoughts are blueprints. Actions are construction. The builder who changes his plan mid-foundation will find his house uneven. So it is with life. Consistency of design determines stability of outcome. Those who change their confession with every wind of circumstance will never see a completed structure. Edison exemplified this alignment. His thought conceived, his speech declared, his action persisted. He never spoke of trying, he spoke of doing. He did not complain of obstacles, he studied them. His workers said he moved with an air of certainty, as though the result already existed. Indeed it did, within his mental design. He merely brought into form what his mind had already completed. Henry Ford practiced the same law. When his engineers insisted the V8 engine was impossible, he replied, "Build it anyway." He did not argue, he affirmed. His thought was definite, his words were command, and his action followed both without hesitation. Months later, the impossible was built. That was not luck. It was alignment embodied. Men destroy their own power through careless speech. Every if and maybe weakens the decree of thought. Every complaint invites delay. The successful man guards his language as treasure. He speaks only what serves his purpose. Silence is better than contradiction, for silence preserves power while complaint dissipates it. The subconscious mind, obedient and literal, cannot interpret sarcasm or pretense. When you say, "I can't afford it," the mind takes the statement as command and adjusts perception accordingly. You cease to see opportunities. When you say, "I am increasing," the same mind mobilizes every faculty toward fulfillment. Speech is spiritual machinery. Every word either builds or destroys. The average man blames fate for his misfortune, unaware that his daily conversation directs his destiny. He speaks of lack, and lack multiplies. He tells stories of defeat, and defeat repeats. Words once spoken summon their kind. The wise man understands this law and orders his tongue as he orders his finances. He spends words only where return is certain. Thought is the architect, speech is the builder, action is the inhabitant. You must live in the house you construct daily through these three. A thought of fear builds walls of limitation. A word of doubt lays foundations of weakness. An act of hesitation decorates the room with failure. Change the plan, and the house must change. Every fortune rests upon invisible blueprints of thought. The one who holds an image of prosperity in mind and reaffirms it through speech begins to magnetize conditions to match it. The man who imagines failure and speaks discouragement calls it forth as surely. Faith and fear obey the same law. They attract what they expect. Infinite intelligence never mocks belief. It multiplies whatever you feed it. When your thoughts are orderly, your words confident, and your actions decisive, you cooperate with the creative rhythm of life. You become conductor of a symphony instead of a spectator of chaos. The law rewards harmony, not effort alone. You may save 10 or 20 years of wandering by mastering this single practice. Think precisely, speak deliberately, and act immediately. This trinity of obedience converts faith into substance faster than opportunity can knock. Men who delay speech until belief is certain command results that appear miraculous to others but are mechanical under law. Alignment requires moral courage. It demands that you abandon every habit of self-pity and vague ambition. You can no longer say one thing and live another. The double-minded man prays for success while secretly fearing ridicule. He takes advice from failure while quoting philosophy of prosperity. His results mirror his confusion perfectly. A mind in alignment feels peace. Conflict vanishes. Decisions become swift because the entire self moves as one. This calm confidence is the scent of mastery. Others sense it before you speak. Employers trust it. Investors recognize it. Even strangers respond to it. The world honors unity because unity mirrors the order of infinite intelligence itself. Say daily, "My thoughts are definite, my words are faithful, my actions are disciplined, therefore my results are certain." Speak it slowly until it becomes rhythm in your breath. Soon, thought and word will synchronize and action will follow effortlessly. The moment they align, increase begins. The habit of alignment transforms failure into learning instead of despair. The man of order does not curse defeat. He studies it. He examines which part of the Trinity faltered, thought, word, or deed, and corrects it. Because his foundation is law, not luck, he cannot be destroyed, only delayed. To align your thought is to guard imagination. To align your speech is to guard vibration. To align your action is to guard evidence. All three together produce what men call fate. But fate, rightly understood, is simply the compounded effect of repeated alignment. Look at Rockefeller. He spoke little and thought deeply. Every statement was weighed as gold. He never uttered impulsive promises. His calm, deliberate speech turned bankers into believers and competitors into allies. He did not chase wealth. His unity of conduct caused wealth to orbit him like planets around a sun. You will know alignment has become natural when your desires no longer shout but command. There will be no frantic energy in your pursuit. You will move as if guided because you are. Infinite intelligence works through unified minds as electricity flows through a complete circuit. Doubt is the broken wire that stops the current. When speech contradicts thought, energy short circuits. When action contradicts speech, power dissipates. The law cannot reward inconsistency. It must obey harmony, for harmony is its own reflection. Align fully once, and doors that remained locked for years will open quietly, as if by recognition. This law is not limited to wealth. It governs health, relationships, leadership, every form of creation. All success is unity in motion. A man who thinks health, speaks health, and acts healthy cannot long remain sick. The one who thinks confusion, speaks complaint, and acts in fear cannot long remain prosperous. I have seen men pray for light while cursing the lamp they were given. They say they seek success, yet ridicule those who practice discipline. Such contradiction is fatal to progress. The law responds not to prayers, but to alignment. Prayer is effective only when it aligns belief, speech, and act. Alignment saves decades of wasted motion. The unaligned man spends years correcting the consequences of his own contradictions. He promises too soon, repents too late, begins without planning, and blames others when chaos follows. The aligned man thinks first, speaks second, acts third, and each step strengthens the next. If you wish to understand fortune, stop chasing signs and start studying sequences. Every increase is preceded by a pattern of thought, speech, and action repeated faithfully over time. Most men quit before the pattern matures. The wise persist until law yields its harvest. Say often, I am whole within myself. My thought is my command. My word is my law. My action is my proof. This affirmation is not vanity. It is structure. It reminds your mind of its hierarchy. When thought leads, word affirms, and action fulfills, destiny cannot disobey. When you master alignment, you will find wealth arriving faster yet with less struggle. People will call you fortunate, but you will smile, knowing that fortune was never mystery. It was simply mathematics. The same law that holds planets in orbit holds prosperity in motion around the definite man. Hold fast to unity, and every fragment of your life will join it. Plans will connect, opportunities will meet preparation, and time itself will seem to favor you. For the man whose thought, word, and action march as one becomes irresistible, not through force, but through law. There is a law so constant that no civilization has ever escaped it. The law of increase. It governs all abundance, both spiritual and material. It declares that every form of wealth expands only around order, usefulness, and service. Men who understand this law grow rich without haste, for they cooperate with it. Those who violate it grow exhausted, for they resist the very current that sustains increase. Infinite intelligence designed the world upon multiplication. The seed produces fields, the idea produces industries, the generous heart produces opportunity. Yet the ignorant man demands increase without first becoming increase. He demands harvest without sowing. He begs for wealth while withholding service. He prays for reward while offering confusion. The law of increase answers him with silence. King Solomon understood this law deeply. His kingdom prospered not through conquest, but through wisdom and fairness. He made his people productive, his courts just, his merchants honest. Order became the soil from which wealth grew. Prosperity was not an accident, it was a reaction. When the channels of justice were clear, abundance flowed as naturally as water seeks the sea. The true source of fortune is not the market, it is usefulness. Every fortune ever recorded began with service rendered well. The merchant who sells quality multiplies customers. The craftsman who works with excellence multiplies opportunity. The man who gives more in value than he takes in pay creates a vacuum that the law must fill with increase. This is the foundation of the habit I have taught countless students. Go the extra mile. Render more service than paid for, and you place life in your debt. The law of compensation cannot remain idle. It must balance the account. Men who complain of small pay reveal their misunderstanding of increase. Pay is never the cause. It is the effect. Service is the cause. F.W. Woolworth began his empire with a few pennies of merchandise. Others mocked his 5 and 10 cent stores. But his purpose was not to imitate wealth. It was to serve the masses with dignity. His counters were clean, his prices honest, his service cheerful. He multiplied goodwill, and the law multiplied his riches. Observe that increase always follows faith in service, not greed for gain. The greedy man clutches what he has and loses even that. The generous man gives freely and multiplies without strain. This is no mystery. It is mathematics. Circulation sustains life. Stagnation invites decay. The man who gives value continually cannot remain poor. Carnegie knew this law. His libraries, schools, and endowments were not afterthoughts. They were continuations of the principle that made him rich. He enriched the world, and the world enriched him. Service is not charity. It is enlightened self-interest aligned with divine law. The law of increase responds only to order. You cannot expand what you cannot organize. The disordered man may receive opportunity, but he will lose it through confusion. Look at those who inherit wealth without discipline. They turn fortune into burden. Their increase collapses because their foundation lacks structure. This is why infinite intelligence tests men with small tasks before entrusting them with great ones. The man who cannot govern a day cannot govern a year. The one who wastes an hour will waste an empire. The law observes silently until competence is proven. Once proven, it multiplies resources to match readiness. The impatient man demands enlargement before mastery. He expands his business while his methods are still careless, hires men before learning to lead, borrows money before earning trust. His growth is forced, and forced growth breaks. True increase is gradual and symmetrical. It strengthens roots before reaching upward. To live under the law of increase is to cultivate patience. Patience is not waiting idly. It is organized progress. The farmer who plants seed and tends it daily is patient, not passive. He understands the seasons of reward. So must the man of enterprise. He cannot rush law any more than he can command the sunrise. His duty is to sow faithfully and harvest gratefully. Repeat this affirmation daily. I increase all that I touch by improving its order, usefulness, and beauty. This statement aligns you with the rhythm of creation. It reminds you that wealth is the byproduct of improvement, not exploitation. When you leave every place and every person better than you found them, fortune cannot stay away from you. A poor clerk once worked under a merchant who treated him unfairly. Instead of rebelling, the clerk determined to master every detail of the business. He studied customers, arranged shelves, simplified records. Within a year, the store's profits doubled. The merchant, seeing his diligence, made him a partner. That young man later owned a chain of stores. His secret? He practiced the law of increase before owning it. Increase respects gratitude. The man who despises small beginnings will never see great endings. Infinite intelligence expands only what is appreciated. To complain of your task is to reduce it. To honor it is to magnify it. When you handle small duties with reverence, the universe concludes that you are ready for larger ones. Discontent without discipline is rebellion against law. It shouts for change, but refuses to change itself. The wise man converts discontent into improvement. He asks, how can I add value here? How can I serve more efficiently? These questions open the gate of expansion. The moment you improve anything sincerely, you summon invisible cooperation. Thomas Edison increased the world by increasing its light. He did not invent from greed, but from usefulness. Every experiment was guided by the desire to serve humanity more efficiently. Because his aim was pure, wealth flowed toward him naturally. The world pays generously for light, whether physical or mental. The law of increase also governs thought. A mind filled with gratitude multiplies good ideas. A mind filled with complaint multiplies obstacles. Each thought is a seed, each attitude a climate. To think constructively is to cultivate fertile soil where opportunity grows rapidly. The man of faith sees increase where others see lack because his mind expects it. Infinite intelligence never withholds wealth from the deserving. It simply waits for alignment. When thought, service, and gratitude are united, the law activates. Prosperity becomes as inevitable as sunrise. You cannot block it any more than you can stop growth in a fertile garden. Many men mistake extravagance for increase. They spend without purpose and call it prosperity. But increase is not waste. It is expansion through usefulness. The tree that grows tall first sends roots deep. The extravagant man reaches upward without foundation and collapses. The wise man builds depth before height. Rockefeller exemplified this law. His businesses grew because they improved efficiency, reduced waste, and provided reliability. He saw service where others saw mere profit. He increased energy for the world and was compensated accordingly. The law of increase does not favor generosity alone. It favors intelligent generosity. To obey this law, do not ask, "How can I get more?" Ask instead, "How can I give more value than I am paid for?" That single change of focus aligns you instantly with increase. Every additional effort you render without demand for payment multiplies unseen credit with life. Payment arrives later, but with interest that compounds. Every act of service creates a spiritual account. Some men deposit daily through excellence. Others withdraw daily through indifference. Fortune grows for the depositor and shrinks for the debtor. You cannot escape the arithmetic of law. When order meets generosity, increase becomes unstoppable. Service without system burns out. System without service dries up. Both together form the riverbed through which abundance flows endlessly. If you wish to save 10 or 20 years of wandering, learn this one habit. Add value wherever you are and do it with precision. The man who perfects his work, regardless of circumstance, becomes indispensable. Indispensable men rise, replaceable men remain. Do not despise repetition. Every improvement, no matter how small, accumulates compound interest. The daily refinement of thought and conduct builds invisible capital. When opportunity appears, it recognizes preparedness and merges with it instantly. Others call it sudden luck. You will know it as the quiet arrival of law fulfilled. Increase also demands faith in continuity. Many abandon their effort too soon. They plant for one season and demand harvest in the next. They fail to see that law works in cycles, not impulses. Each act of service adds momentum until results break suddenly, as a dam bursts after long accumulation. Therefore, persist in improvement. Even unseen progress counts toward increase. The universe never loses record of sincere effort. What appears delayed is only gathering weight. The moment of release always matches the magnitude of patience. Remember always, wealth is not the goal. Usefulness is the condition. You were not born to hoard, but to multiply. Fortune is entrusted to those who distribute wisely, for distribution is the proof of faith in abundance. The miser violates law by clinging. The giver obeys law by circulating. In this spirit, repeat this affirmation until it becomes conviction. I live under the law of increase. I multiply value daily. I serve with order and receive with gratitude. Speak it with understanding, for it is the signature of divine partnership. When you live by this rhythm, every endeavor becomes a channel of prosperity. Men will say, everything he touches succeeds. But you will know the truth. Everything you touch, you improve, and therefore law must reward you. Service is the gold standard of heaven and earth. The man who polishes his service polishes his destiny. The man who perfects his craft perfects his future. The law cannot deny him because he reflects its very nature, continuous increase through continuous improvement. This is why the fortunes of great builders endure. They obeyed not luck, but law. Their wealth was not chance. It was the natural overflow of disciplined service. They did not take from life. They gave more than life required, and life repaid them with compound blessings. So remember, to multiply wealth, multiply usefulness. To sustain wealth, sustain order. To enjoy wealth, enjoy service. For these three are the trinity of true increase. Violate one, and the others vanish. Obey all, and fortune becomes your faithful servant. It is one thing to attract wealth, it is another to sustain it. Many men have reached abundance only to find it devoured by care, fear, and vanity. Fortune does not destroy them. Ignorance of stewardship does. The hidden law of stewardship declares that no man owns power. He is merely trusted with it. The moment he forgets this, his dominion begins to decay. King Solomon's greatness was not measured by gold, but by equilibrium. Surrounded by splendor, he remained calm. Power served him because he served wisdom. He governed riches. Riches never governed him. Those who came after, lacking his order, multiplied possession but lost peace. This is the price of power without stewardship. It consumes what it cannot guide. Infinite intelligence entrusts fortune only to those who understand its moral structure. Money is a test of character disguised as a reward. It amplifies the nature of its possessor. To the disciplined, it becomes a tool of progress. To the vain, it becomes a mirror of pride. No man escapes this law. Wealth either expands virtue or multiplies folly, depending upon the hand that holds it. The wise builder never asks, "How much can I take?" He asks, "How well can I manage what I have?" Management is mastery and practice. It is the daily proof of worthiness. The one who neglects small accounts will lose great ones. Every penny you waste in disorder speaks to infinite intelligence that you are unfit for larger trust. Every act of precision, no matter how small, proclaims readiness for more. Stewardship is not stinginess. It is organized gratitude. It treats each possession, each relationship, each opportunity as sacred assignment. It wastes nothing and boasts of nothing. It keeps balance between enjoyment and responsibility. The wise man does not fear wealth nor worship it. He uses it in obedience to law, just as he uses fire. Servant, not master. A man ungoverned by principle cannot govern property. Examine those who gain quickly by deceit or speculation. Their fortunes vanish because their conduct repels trust. Life may permit them temporary gain, but it withdraws peace. They live surrounded by possessions, yet haunted by loss. Disorder within always destroys abundance without. The first rule of stewardship is emotional control. You must never permit excitement to outrun judgment. The market of life rewards calm. Rash men act from impulse. Rulers act from decision. Andrew Carnegie was known for quiet demeanor, even in crisis. When others panicked, he measured. This composure was not temperament. It was discipline. The calm man sees clearly what the frantic man destroys. The second rule is precision in record and habit. Solomon wrote that a false balance is abomination. The man who lives vaguely spends vaguely, promises vaguely, and collapses in confusion. Keep your accounts as a reflection of mind, orderly, honest, exact. The one who cannot balance books cannot balance destiny. Every ledger is a mirror of character. The third rule is temperance. Success tempts indulgence. Many men, unprepared for prosperity, turn freedom into bondage through appetite. They mistake luxury for joy and quantity for worth. True enjoyment requires measure. The wise man allows pleasure to refresh, not to command. To remain temperate is to remain master. The fourth rule is service through wealth. Power held selfishly rots. Money, like water, must circulate to remain pure. Hoarded wealth breeds fear. Productive wealth multiplies peace. Carnegie, Rockefeller, Ford, each found fulfillment not in accumulation, but in distribution. They obeyed the same law Solomon taught, that stewardship proves gratitude, and gratitude invites further increase. Let me tell you a story. A merchant once inherited a thriving business from his father. In eagerness to display success, he expanded rapidly, hired without discernment, and borrowed beyond measure. Within years, his empire crumbled. Another merchant, starting smaller, reinvested patiently, paid every debt, rewarded loyal workers, and built stability brick by brick. 20 years later, his business became a monument to diligence. The first chased possession, the second practiced stewardship. Stewardship transforms power into permanence. The untrained man sees fortune as an escape from discipline. The wise sees it as its continuation. True wealth increases responsibility, not leisure. To hold abundance is to accept guardianship of law. Each decision made with power echoes through lives unseen. That realization humbles the true master and ruins the fool. Infinite intelligence observes how men behave when unobserved. The steward acts with integrity in secret. He does not need threat of loss to act honorably. His self-respect is law enough. Fortune favors such men because their character guarantees order. The dishonest may prosper for a season, but every crooked foundation crumbles in due time. Remember, abundance magnifies both faith and fear. The fearful man counts his gold nightly and sleeps poorly. The faithful man sleeps soundly, knowing that law itself guards his wealth. He trusts principle more than possession. His peace becomes his proof of mastery. There is a moral architecture to success. The walls are integrity, the roof is moderation, and the cornerstone is gratitude. Remove anyone, and the structure collapses. Gratitude alone keeps wealth alive. Ingratitude invites decay. To thank life daily for opportunity and responsibility is to renew your license to prosper. Say each morning, I am a steward of law, not a slave of gain. Power serves me because I serve order. Speak it until it becomes your posture. Then no amount of increase will corrupt you, for your heart will remain grounded while your influence expands. Stewardship also demands foresight. The wise man does not spend all in prosperity nor despair in scarcity. He saves when able and gives when led. He recognizes cycles and prepares. This foresight is not fear. It is prudence guided by faith. King Solomon stored grain during plenty, so none starved during drought. Preparation is respect for the future. Consider Henry Ford. When profits soared, he reinvested in efficiency rather than luxury. He understood that order sustains increase. His factories became schools of discipline. Workers learned punctuality, precision, and pride in labor. Ford created more than cars. He created a standard of stewardship that influenced a nation. The law of stewardship extends beyond wealth to influence, knowledge, and relationships. Every gift you possess carries duty. To misuse power of speech by spreading gossip is to violate stewardship of influence. To hoard knowledge is to betray stewardship of wisdom. To neglect loved ones is to fail stewardship of trust. Law punishes neglect not through vengeance but through consequence. If you would save 20 years of unnecessary downfall, learn this. Your future rises or falls not by what you gain, but by how you handle it. Prosperity without stewardship collapses as surely as a tree without roots. The greater the success, the deeper the humility required to sustain it. Pride blinds the powerful. It whispers that they are self-made. But no man builds alone. He is assisted by circumstance, cooperation, and divine timing. Gratitude acknowledges this invisible alliance. It keeps arrogance from rotting the foundation. The moment you forget gratitude, you sever connection with the source that supplied you. True stewardship also includes rest. The overanxious worker violates law as much as the lazy man. Continual strain breeds confusion, and confusion breeds loss. Rest, rightly used, renews clarity. Even Solomon withdrew from judgment to reflect. Balance is the rhythm of mastery. Work in faith, rest in faith. Remember this affirmation: I handle increase with calmness, I multiply it through order, I share it through service, and I rest in gratitude. This fourfold practice completes the circle of stewardship. Practice it until it becomes instinct. Every fortune destroyed by recklessness began as a violation of this law. Examine every fallen empire, and you will find arrogance, neglect, or extravagance. Examine every enduring one, and you will find restraint, precision, and generosity. The same law governs both outcome and ruin. A man once asked me how to know if he was ready for wealth. I told him, when you can manage $10 without tension, you are ready for 1,000. When you can manage 1,000 without vanity, you are ready for 1,000,000. The principle is constant. Peace proves preparedness. Do not envy the noisy spender. His wealth is already fleeing. Do not mock the patient steward. His roots run deep. The first shines briefly. The second endures generations. Choose which law you wish to obey, display or stewardship. One consumes, the other multiplies. Infinite intelligence entrusts abundance to those who create harmony through it. Use wealth to uplift, to educate, to create order where there was waste. This transforms fortune into legacy. King Solomon's wisdom endures not because of gold, but because his order became example. Let your order outlive your name. When you have mastered stewardship, wealth will no longer frighten you. You will not fear loss because you no longer depend on possession for identity. You will see money as servant of principle, not proof of worth. This freedom is the highest prosperity, a peace that cannot be purchased nor stolen. In that state, fortune ceases to be pursuit. It becomes participation in divine circulation. You no longer hold riches. They flow through you like current through wire. You become conduit for the law itself, guiding energy into form, not hoarding, but directing. When others see your calm under pressure, your fairness in profit, and your generosity in success, they will sense something beyond business. They will sense principle. Your stewardship will be your sermon. You will not need to teach. You will embody the lesson. And thus the hidden law proves itself. Fortune rests securely only in the hands of those who handle it with order, humility, and gratitude. Obey these, and you may hold power without losing peace. Disobey, and peace will leave long before the gold does. All wealth is motion. Every coin, every idea, every opportunity obeys the rhythm of circulation. To dam it through fear is to destroy it. To release it through faith is to multiply it. This is the fifth revelation of the hidden law. The universe was not built for hoarding. It was built for exchange. Where giving ceases, decay begins. Where circulation is honored, increase becomes endless. King Solomon said, "There is that scattereth and yet increaseth." The statement confounds the miser, but comforts the wise. It means that what you give in faith does not leave you. It multiplies itself and returns enlarged. To give without fear is to acknowledge abundance as law. To cling and grasp is to confess scarcity. The miser builds walls against imaginary loss, yet those walls suffocate his fortune. Infinite intelligence circulates through every atom of existence. The blood in your body, the tide of the sea, the seasons of the year, all proclaim that increase depends on movement. Wealth is governed by the same rhythm. It must flow through thought, labor, and gratitude. When a man allows it to stop with him, the law reclaims it. What he refuses to release he will eventually lose. Look upon the rivers. They feed valleys, turn mills, nourish fields, and still reach the sea full. If the river hoarded water for fear of drought, it would stagnate into swamp. Likewise, the man who withholds out of fear breeds stagnation of mind. The generous man who trusts circulation lives in perpetual harvest. This law reveals why charity without intelligence accomplishes little. Giving must serve order. Scattering seed on stone wastes effort, but sowing in fertile ground multiplies return. The wise giver selects channels that preserve usefulness. His generosity strengthens life instead of weakening it. He gives not to boast, but to cooperate with the current of law. Andrew Carnegie mastered this principle. In the years of his greatest abundance, he poured wealth into libraries, schools, and foundations. His fortune did not diminish. It expanded in influence and endurance. Through circulation, his money became mind power, echoing long after his body rested. He understood what the small-hearted never learn. Money kept is perishable. Money circulated through purpose becomes immortal. The law of circulation does not concern coins alone. Ideas too must move, or they die. The thinker who hoards knowledge through vanity loses creativity. The teacher who shares freely multiplies understanding. Even friendship obeys this rhythm. What is not expressed withers. Life is movement, and every form of increase is sustained by exchange. Many men mistake accumulation for prosperity. They confuse storage with security. Yet every hoarded treasure invites loss. The merchant who stores goods without selling soon meets ruin. The banker who locks his funds without lending destroys the current of commerce. The man who saves energy but never creates becomes heavy with unrealized potential. Motion, not storage, defines wealth. The law of circulation is impartial. It blesses or breaks without prejudice. You can cooperate with it or resist it, but you cannot escape it. Rockefeller used this understanding to build stability. He invested earnings into industries that multiplied service. His money did not sleep, it worked. That is the secret of every enduring fortune, not idle wealth, but active wealth. To live by this law requires courage. Fear whispers that giving invites emptiness. Faith knows that giving proves fullness. Every act of generosity, every investment in improvement, every risk taken under reason is a declaration that you trust law more than circumstance. The coward delays circulation until he feels secure. The wise circulate because they know it creates security. A man once asked me how to attract opportunity when doors seemed closed. I told him, find someone you can help and do it now. He hesitated. Weeks later, he followed the advice, helped a struggling colleague without asking payment. Within months, that same man introduced him to an investor who changed his life. The current of good returned multiplied. When you withhold good, you interrupt your own flow. The energy that might have moved through you now circles elsewhere. This is why stingy men always speak of scarcity. They live in self-created drought. The generous speak of abundance because they live in continuous rain. Repeat this affirmation until it becomes your faith. I am a channel of abundance. Wealth flows through me, not from me. As I give, I grow. Say it without anxiety, for it is law. You cannot outgive life. Every act of release signals readiness for more. Every act of fear closes the gate. The man who circulates wisely becomes fountain, not reservoir. He refreshes others and never runs dry. Consider Henry Ford again. His factories paid fair wages when such generosity was rare. Competitors mocked him, yet his circulation multiplied loyalty and productivity. The money he gave returned as efficiency, innovation, and mass trust. Fortune obeys those who feed its source. Even thought must obey circulation. Think continually of lack, and you block creative energy. Think of contribution, and your ideas multiply. The man who asks, "What can I add to life today?" becomes a generator of wealth. The one who asks, "What can life add to me?" becomes a drain. Infinite intelligence refuses to feed parasites. It rewards creators. You can save 30 years of frustration by grasping this. Wealth responds to usefulness in motion. Do not merely possess talent, apply it. Do not merely learn, teach. Do not merely plan, execute. Each act of circulation draws new energy. The law loves momentum. Let me show you another face of this law: forgiveness. Grievance is the hoarding of pain. When you refuse to release resentment, you clog your inner channels. Creativity, joy, and confidence stagnate. The instant you forgive sincerely, power returns. The same law that governs gold governs peace. What is withheld decays. What is released renews. Circulation requires both inlet and outlet. Many study gain but ignore release. They crave reception but fear distribution. Yet the same door through which you receive is the one through which you give. Close it in one direction, and you close it in both. That is why misers grow poor in spirit even when rich in account. Their door is locked. Infinite intelligence trusts those who trust themselves. When you release freely, you prove faith in your power to replenish. The act of circulation is silent prayer. It tells the universe, I believe in endless supply. The response is automatic. More flows. Men who withhold out of fear may temporarily accumulate but lose unseen riches: peace, confidence, creative vision. They look prosperous but live imprisoned by anxiety. The generous live free. They attract allies, goodwill, and unseen help. Law follows joy, not dread. Think of the soil. It gives nourishment to seed without question. In return, seed gives fruit, and fruit returns seed again. If the earth refused to yield, harvest would end. Nature proves every day that possession and release are twins. Only the human mind imagines them enemies. When circulation becomes habit, opportunity multiplies geometrically. You will find new connections, timely introductions, unexpected assistance. People will appear who mirror your generosity. Circumstances will arrange themselves in your favor, not by miracle, but by mathematics. You will have entered the rhythm of abundance itself. To apply this law, begin small. Give time where you can, patience where needed, and money where deserved. Give attention to those who bring value, ideas to those who listen, gratitude to those who help. Each form of giving strengthens your current. Within weeks, you will sense momentum returning to your affairs. The world moves for those who move for others. The ancient prophets taught the same truth through tithe, a fraction given not as payment, but as declaration of trust. The act purified the mind from greed. It aligned man with divine rhythm. Those who treated it as tax gained nothing. Those who gave in faith joined the stream of increase. For circulation rewards spirit, not superstition. There is a profound reason why fortune often deserts old empires and rises in new hands. When rulers hoard and exploit, circulation stops. Decay follows. When fresh visionaries distribute wealth through enterprise, art, and service, prosperity revives. History itself is testimony to this law. Do not fear that generosity will invite exploitation. The wise give with discrimination. He who gives indiscriminately violates order as surely as he who withholds selfishly. Circulation requires mind as well as heart. Each gift must serve purpose. Each act must strengthen structure. The current must flow through channels of order, not chaos. Remember this daily truth. Every resource entrusted to me must move, grow, and serve. I am not its owner, but its steward in motion. This sentence will keep you from both greed and waste. It maintains balance between faith and reason. When your giving becomes disciplined, life entrusts you with greater means to give. This is the law of stewardship now multiplied through circulation. Your responsibility expands in proportion to your readiness to share. The world becomes your business, and your prosperity becomes its reward. A man once told me he was afraid to invest in his own idea, fearing loss. I asked, "Do you trust your purpose?" He said, "Yes." "Then you cannot lose," I replied. "Even if money departs, the lesson will return, with interest." Within a year, his project succeeded beyond expectation. Law answered faith with expansion. Circulation is faith in motion. Every act of generosity is invisible declaration. I have enough and to spare. Every act of fear is declaration. I live in shortage. Both summon their likeness. Choose wisely what you wish multiplied. The more you circulate good, the faster your supply renews. Energy never diminishes. It transforms. What you release in value returns in new form. The man who teaches multiplies understanding. The artist who paints multiplies beauty. The leader who empowers multiplies trust. This is circulation as spiritual law. Look closely at those who glow with peace and influence. They are givers in some form. Their time, wisdom, or service flows outward. And look at those who complain constantly of unfairness. They are reservoirs sealed by fear. The difference between drought and abundance is always motion. This law demands sincerity. Giving for show is not circulation. It is performance, and performance dries quickly. The motive must be pure, to participate in the current, not manipulate it. The universe detects insincerity instantly. To give truly, expect no applause. Let results be your witness. Soon you will feel the rhythm of life guiding you. Money will come and go without distress. Opportunities will open naturally. Gratitude will replace anxiety. This is not mysticism. It is alignment. You have joined the stream instead of resisting it. Remember, you are not trying to get rich. You are cooperating with the current that produces riches as byproduct of usefulness and trust. When you cease fearing circulation, you cease fearing loss. You become free, and freedom is the essence of prosperity. Those who learn this law become like Solomon, peaceful in power, calm in abundance, deliberate in generosity. They know that nothing truly owned can ever be lost because ownership in spirit is mastery of principle, not possession of object. So live this truth daily. I release fear. I release greed. I let good flow through me unresisted. In my giving, I am multiplied. And when you walk this path, men will notice the quiet ease in your countenance, the untroubled strength in your decisions, the unforced abundance that surrounds your life. They will call it luck, but you will know